coming. I got the legendary overall founding mother, Barbie Makaveli. You know, we've been talking about doing this for a while. I'm glad to, you know, finally get you here. You know, so I can just get to know you a little bit better, and also just, you know, share some of your story with a lot of people that are watching. You know, you're somebody that's like one of the more recognizable people like in the Midwest period, not even just for your category. So, you know, and every time I bump into you, you always so humble, so nice. So, you know, you're just a good person. So I want to, you know, just get to know you a little bit better, like the specifics. So first, tell me where you're from, and then tell me how you got introduced to ballroom.
Okay, well, I'm from Akron, Ohio, but I ended up moving to Pittsburgh like when I was like 16 because I went to Job Corps. I was real bad in school, so I ended up getting kicked out. And I ended up going to Job Corps in Pittsburgh to get my high school diploma and graduate with a trade. And I met some people who was like, well, I was going there at first for CNA, but then you had like the clinicals where you can't talk or make no noise in there, so I got kicked out of that because I had to talk. But then I ended up graduating with my high school diploma in certifications in office administration, business management. So, but fast forwarding to ballroom, I ran into a guy named Lulu Dallas. He used to be a commentator and a voguer and a leader in the Pittsburgh ballroom, and I think we met on like Jacked or something. And he was like, he came and picked me up, and then when I picked him up, he was like, have you ever been to a bar? Have you ever walked a bar? I've never been to a bar or knew anything about a bar. And but I had a best friend growing up who he used to do the single ladies dance, and then he would just do a dip, and I used to always be like, what the fuck was that? Like, and he would be like, it's voguing.
Like, was this your old self, or is this the Barbie that we know today?
This is definitely my old, you know, my previous life. And my best friend, he would vogue. He's an overseer in my house now too. His name's Kim, but he would like lightly vogue and throw it into his dance moves, and I would always wonder what it was. So when I met Lulu, he actually broke down like the 5 elements and what voguing was, and it went on from there. Like I joined the House of Crayola, and that was my first house I ever was in, and it was lit. Like I was in ballroom.
That's what's up.
I didn't even want to vogue.
That's what's up. So, what was the first category that kind of like? What was the first category that attracted you to ballroom? Like, what when you first seen it? Like, what when you got first exposed to it? Like, what was it? If it wasn't performance?
Well, performance intrigued me. I liked watching it, but I didn't think that I was like feminine enough to do it, which is kind of weird because my whole life I knew I would have been. I don't say that my whole life I thought I was going to be a person of trans experience, but I knew that I was a woman or felt like a woman or, you know, whatever. So that femininity as far as my natural self was there, but I just didn't think that I could actually like do the duck walks in the hands and be all gay and feminine like that. But so I was trying to be like a realness boy. When I first came to the ballroom scene, I was trying to do realness, and that thought only lasted like a couple months.
Which realness?
Schoolboy.
Okay.
I was gonna probably do schoolboy, but that didn't work out.
Right. So after that, you was in the House of Crayola. Like, what time frame was this?
This is like 2009.
Okay.
My first couple of houses that I was in, that time frame went by so fast because it was my first couple of years in ballroom, and I joined a few houses in them first couple of years. 2009, I joined Crayola. I want to say 2010, I left Crayola and I went to St. Clair. I probably was at St. Clair for about a year or two, maybe like 2012. I left St. Clair and went to Ebony. Actually, let me take that back. Because I really believe that I know I joined Ballroom in 2009. I know Crayola was my first house. I think I only was a Crayola for a year. 2010 for sure I went to St. Clair. Maybe that same year I left and went to Ebony. 2010. I probably wasn't at St. Clair a whole year. And then I stayed at Ebony until I went to Revlon. 2012.
Yeah, so then you left Ebony. Why did you change over from Ebony to Revlon?
Well, I left Ebony initially because I had an issue with one of the leaders at the time that they brought to the house in the Midwest. And on top of that, I was meeting Father Tony. We share a child together outside of Ballroom. And they would always tell me, like, you need to meet Father Tony, you need to meet Father Tony. And then she would be telling Father Tony, like, you need to meet my mama, you need my mama. So when we finally met, the first thing he said to me when he looked at me was like, I want you to be mother of my house. And I probably was like 17 or 18 at the time. And I was like, bitch, what? Like, I was gagging. Like, this man that they call the father of our fathers want me to be a parent in his house. So, after that, I probably stayed at Ebony for like 6 months. And I continued to have issues with them. And I just left. But at that point, I knew if I was leaving Ebony that I was for sure going to Revlon.
When you was a Revlon, you seemed like you was really like loyal to the house to me. So I know you was there for like a long time, or at least like what, like 4 years or 3 years?
Like 8.
8 years.
Yeah, almost 10. I was a Revlon for 8 years.
Oh wow.
All the way up until I started Makaveli in 2019.
Right. So So what made you leave that house? Because like when you that young going into the house, I mean, pretty much your entire adult life was spent in that house. So what motivated you to, start your own house?
Well, I always wanted to start my own house. The thought of that process have always been in the back of my head, start my own house. But it was the Atlanta trip for me that made me separate from Revlon. We were just disrespected on a whole nother level. I love Father Tony to death. He's someone who I hold very dear to my heart. I've learned and grown so much from meeting this man. Like I was a child when I came into his life, and now he helped groom me into this woman today. But I will say that at all times, the treatment from our leadership wasn't respectful or, conducive to what we needed from the older generation to the younger generation. So when things got hectic and we started getting disrespected and called names, we actually, yes, like we were getting called trash and all types of different things. Like the night that we left, or we actually got kicked out. I never left the House of Revlon. Like Father Tony said out of his mouth that we were out of the house, me and Boogie and a few other people. And then, of course, a week later, he calmed down and, tried to get me back into the mix. But it was just over. It was over at that point, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes just dealing with people, that's why I have to even remind myself. Like, sometimes when you're mad, you can, like, go in, and sometimes you can never take back words. So we have to really be careful about the words that we, say to each other, because, like I said, you can't take that back.
Yeah.
Did he feel, he kicked you out, but did he feel some type of way about you starting your own house?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did he, like, try to retaliate against you or anything like that?
See, here's the thing. I feel like, I felt like in the beginning, a lot of the issues we were having as a house came from the backlash of leaving Revlon and starting our own house. Till this day, that'll never be, like, confirmed or not. It hasn't been, but I like to believe so. I like to believe that the issues we had were because of that growing pain, like, you know, just leaving one organization, starting your other, and then taking some members with you. You know, of course, that's and it's hard for anybody running an establishment. So, especially me now having my own house, I fully understand the pain, or you know what I'm saying, or like the bitterness, all of that. So I get it, but yeah, I definitely feel like he was upset about that for a little while.
Do you still have a relationship with him?
I always love him. We haven't really spoke too much since I've been out of the house. We've had very deep conversations though since I've been here, to know that we are still locked in and we love each other, but we're not like every day on the phone talking, or you know, it's probably once every couple months.
Yeah, that's life though.
Yeah.
That's life.
I know when Boogie passed that we spent the ample amount of time together at the actual services, you know. One thing I'll never forget is in that moment when I needed comfort the most, he was there for me, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I'm really sorry about Boogie. You know, he was definitely very influential in the ballroom scene. I know a lot of people loved him. Yeah, like he was a good person. So from you know what I heard, what about him do you miss the most?
It's time for the main attraction!
What about him do you miss the most?
everything. I miss his smile, his conversation, you know, the way he made me feel. See, I lost myself at one point in Ballroom. People don't understand that I grew up in Ballroom, you know what I'm saying? I was a child coming into Ballroom. I started walking balls at like 15. So in my mid-teenage, turning into an adult years, I started developing who I truly was. You know, just learning more and more about myself, getting deeper. And he was a person that helped me stay grounded to who I am, you know, and helped me come into who I am. Put a confidence and a battery pack in my back. So I think what I miss the most is that, in that family aura, like, you know, we were such a lit, tight-knit family because he just would keep us Sunday family day. Like, you know, we got to get together on Sunday and do a big cook. Everybody got to cook, and we got to get together, smoke, do whatever we do. And the way that he would prepare the kids, like, you know, and just love on the kids, love on me, love on everybody. I just miss that so much because it's something that we needed, you know. And houses that he's been in before, I think that they didn't know how to digest the beauty behind that being his character, you know what I'm saying? So I think with us in our relationship, I just understood him. I saw him, like, you know what I'm saying? Past the bullshit, past what people said about him, I understood his purpose. So I think I just miss everything about him, honestly, like, you know.
What, because I know running the house on any level is challenging, but definitely on a founding level and an overall level, I know that's probably the most challenging, only because, like, it's almost like everything is on your back. So what about running the house has changed, what about running a house has changed since he has passed for you? Like, what do you have to do differently, or what workload has become more intense because he's not there?
It's so funny because I used to say all the time to all the other founders when we would argue, like, I don't need you. Like, I can do this by myself, blah, blah, blah. You know, we would say the most fucked up things to each other in the midst of arguing. But I realized once Boogie passed away that this was something that I could not absolutely do without him, because the element he added to the house was just unmatchable. Like, you know, so many things picked up once he left because I didn't realize how deep he was with people. He talked to people every day. You know, he would wake up, hit up members. He would go to sleep talking to members, talking about effects, talking about moments, you know what I'm saying, getting people routed up. People would show up because the love that he poured into them and made them feel. He would capture people's soul. And that was his thing. He would always be like, you got to capture people's soul, Barbie. And I'm so standoffish. You know, like, I'm a Taurus. If I don't really know you, and I haven't been around, I'm going to be like timid and quiet at first. You know, I'm not going to really speak up a lot. And he just wasn't that person. He came in the room and just made everybody, like, you know, get into him and get into me and get into us. And, you know, he pulled people out of their shell. Once he left us, people started getting back in their shells. You know what I'm saying? It got harder to get people back out on the floor. I actually had to go in and individually meet and talk to and gain a rapport with each and every last member from each region, because some people he brought to the house, you know, and was only there because of him, or was only there because of his kid's kid or something. So, you know, I had to, like, adopt this whole new family on a whole nother level. So it's been...
It was almost like, I guess putting it in real world terms, it's almost like becoming a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, you got that foundation, that support system, and then something tragic happens, and now you're all on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that kind of like really disturbed me was like how he passed, only because it's like, you know, our entire lives, when they say gay, first thing they say is like AIDS, but they don't really realize, like, before gay, we black men, and we got to deal with things that black men go through out here. And yeah, I'm just sorry that happened, but like I was telling you before, I'm really proud of you that you even still kept it going as well as you have. You know, I wish you would stop like responding to a lot of the like haters and stuff like that, because that's probably what they want you to do. But other than that, like, I'm really proud of you. Like, y'all might not be at every single function, but you know, when y'all are at a function, it don't matter if it's 10 of y'all or 30 of y'all, you hear your house. Your house is on the floor, they're making noise, they're having fun, they're contributing to the energy in the room most times, you know. And even if you do have a couple wild members, but you know, sometimes the motherfucker might not just be crazy, they might just be passionate about
what they're a part of. Yeah,
you know. So I respect, like I said, I respect everything that you've done with that house so far. Now, one thing I was kind of curious about was earlier this year, somebody I really like and respect, Dalen, you know, he had hired me for one of his balls, and I noticed like he didn't add the Makaveli to the last name, so I didn't really think too much into it until the ball is here, and then boom, it's all this drama and stuff, and then he come out in a whole new house. I'm like, damn. And at first I was just like, okay, he back at Ebony, but then I thought about it like, damn, Barbie, like now she done left another piece of that support system is now gone.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it feel for Dalen to leave? Were you mad at him, or you know, like, how did you feel?
This is 11 Beats.
How did it feel for Dalen to leave? Were you mad at him, or like how did you feel?
I was mad at him only on the strength of we've been friends for so long. You know what I'm saying? So there's not nothing that we couldn't work through. But I'll say that the release of him wasn't as detrimental as losing Boogie was. See, I never imagined founders leaving the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just one thing. Like, I never imagined a founder leaving the house that they started. That's kind of crazy. But the fact that they did, and then, I just felt like a lot of people in the house was looking for a certain power. You know what I'm saying? And the certain power that certain people was looking for was something that can't be given to you, or something that wasn't placed on you. It's just something that you're naturally gravitating towards, and that was just a moment to me, honestly, where we rebirthed ourselves and became even stronger. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people was around and wasn't truly fully Barbie supporters, or wasn't fully here for Makaveli as a house and just only wanted to broadcast what they could do, or show what they could do with something. It was all self-serving. So once they were gone, I was just like, shit, thank you. Like, for real, like, not even being funny. Love him to death. Congratulations on his legendary status. But it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, whatever. Because a lot of people in the house, they already had dispositions. So it worked out for the better.
Yeah. So, that's good. Are you on speaking terms with him now or not?
No.
Oh, okay. So, y'all really don't get along.
No.
Do you think that would change? Because like you said, with you and Tony, it was just kind of like he felt really bitter at first, but then after you had a little bit more lived experience yourself, now you kind of be like, okay, I kind of see where he's coming from. Do you ever see yourself getting to a place of understanding with Dalen, or not really right now?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not even being funny, but I probably, I just,
yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it, because my thing is the first thing that people attack, or the first person that people want to attack, is a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And then a black trans woman at that. So for me, it's like the consistent tear down of a woman for me. When men go so hard to try to tear down women just on any level, I don't care, gay, trans, whatever. I just can't rock with that. It's like, once you cross me, I don't give you a chance to cross me again.
I hear that. I understand that.
But I do forgive. I do forgive, and I'm not holding any grudges. But I learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, one of my mottos in life is I always forgive, I never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you forget, it gives it leaves the door open for it to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely forgive. You don't want that like harboring on your spirit. Like, don't hold nothing, And like I said, I hope y'all can come to a place to where if you see each other, you can at least speak.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't feel it in your spirit, don't do it. So
yeah.
Moving on, Like I said, I really love like just you as a person, as an entertainer first, as a performer, because like I already told you, like when I first seen you, like I was always like amazed by you. And the very first ball I ever had, like when you walked through the door, like it was just like almost like okay, like you know, like okay, we here, you know, like because when you have your first ball, you're not really sure how it's gonna turn out, who's gonna come, is it gonna be successful, am I gonna make a profit? But to see like one of your favorite Voguers come, like it meant a lot to me. So by me being such a big fan of you, I've seen like how you have made so many moments, so many people that are like legends now look up to you. What more do you want from Ballroom? Like what more is there to do? You've already, you know, got your status. You started your own house. What else do you want to do?
For me, honestly, this era of Ballroom literally is just about exercising the creativity and the fun of it. Like, you know, stuff been so serious for me in Ballroom since I was young. Like, because I went into being a mom and just doing stuff early in Ballroom. So, never really got to fully live out my creativity and my experience in Ballroom. I think what's next for me now is just giving back to the community, like, you know, actually like getting out on the floor and showing people, you know, what they missed, and then not only that, but throwing balls. You know, that's something that I want to get into, producing and doing different things that wrap around the culture of Ballroom. But stepping on the floor, being active inside of the heart of Ballroom wasn't a goal for me for you know, quite some time. So it was more so about just getting the house out there and just, you know, making sure that they are set for the next years to come and their legacy.
Yeah, that is something that I also see with your house, is that you are very involved with them. It seems like from the outside looking in that y'all have like a very close bond with each other. And yeah, like I appreciate that. So
when you've been through so many ups and downs, you know what I'm saying? Like when you've been through the fire with people, it just makes you closer, you know. Unfortunately, our house in the 4 years it's been open has so many crazy turns that only drew us closer to each other. So now today, I would say like we are so close and locked in with each other because of, you know, having to withstand the test of time, I guess, with each other, you know.
So, in today's climate, if you had, let me say this, if you had somebody coming up to you that wanted to join your house, what would you tell them, if you could just tell them in one sentence what being a Makaveli is about? Like, what does it mean to be a Makaveli?
I would tell them that Makaveli is about family and passion. It's something that we're big about. It's something that we explain to people when they're coming in. Just being passionate and sticking to your passion, living up to your passion, and being passionate about something. Because that's where it starts. You know what I'm saying? Like once you're passionate about it, then with a team around you, you build that team, leadership, whatever. You're gonna live up to your expectations. And as long as you got family around you, you know, like anything can be done. So that's just our motto of what we live by. That's what it takes to be a Maca, to be family oriented, passionate, you know. And then to have some talent, you know, of course.
Right. I mean, yeah, that comes first. What, and where, I meant to ask you that, like, where did the name Makaveli come from? Because I always wondered that.
Here's the funny thing. So, when I was thinking about starting a house, I had like 4 names in the bucket.
And what were they?
I'm going to just tell you the other one that I was truly, I think Fenty was one of them, the House of Fenty, the House of Plastic, I think might have been one of them. Altuzarra was another one, and then Makaveli. When I was looking up Makaveli, I looked up the original Makaveli,
Tupac?
and
Oh, no, from the Bible.
yeah, no, well, Nicholas Makaveli, which is a philanthropist. He's like a lot of different things: an author, a writer, an artist. But one point in his life that really drew me to him and the name was the hearing that he was the connection between the younger youth, which basically is black people, connecting them to different crowds of folks like him, basically uniting blacks, younger blacks in corporate America together, making them presentable. And I felt like that's what I was doing with my kids. I just felt like it was so relatable. So I was just like, I love it, Makaveli. And I did not want it to be, even though it was spelled the same as Tupac's, I did not want it to be anything close or resemble Tupac's aesthetic. I want it to be like a super high fashion house and like a super uppity and classy house. I didn't want to be Banji or nothing like that. And it just ended up turning into a Tupac house.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I hope you know your
It turned into a Tupac house down, but that's not what I was even going for with even naming it that in the first place. But
yeah. I mean, but to be in ballroom, for me anyway, or at least our ballroom here in the States, the real ballroom, I feel like you have to be a little rough around the edges in general. Just because of the spaces we occupy, like you said, it gets real heated in them ballroom floors sometimes. So you need passionate people, and you need to be passionate about what you're doing to really, stick it out. So I like that, and thank you for clearing that up. So as far as going to performance, like I said, you've inspired so many people. Who are some of the people that inspired you?
My first love for Vogue came from Mother Mulan Crayola. I don't know if you know her, if you ever seen her clips before, but she was a popular girl when I was coming up. Maybe somebody who carried the name on her back a little bit. But she's Asian, first of all. Drags performance.
And she's from the Midwest?
And no, she's from the DMV area, but she clears it. Just so soft. Everything that I am today, she was. The daintiness, the girliness, that was hers. I just took from her plate. But she was one of my biggest inspirations, just in general. I just loved her Vogue, and it was just something that I just thought was so girly and so effortlessly. Then, of course, Naomi, my big sis. I started falling in love with her years later, just seeing her Vogue and doing the 360s and the shit that I felt like I needed to add to my performance in order to keep up with the time, because I came in ballroom at a shift. It was that shift where the classic femme queens versus the newer age femme queens, Mercedes and them was still on the floor doing their classic, catwalks and hands and not really giving you too much antics, and then it was still them Shadiras and the Laomis and the Tiffany's coming out at that time who was bringing you Allura times 10, you know what I'm saying? So Laomi definitely turned up the volume for me and wowed me, but I never really looked up to no one. If that's okay to say, I never looked up to no one for real though. I liked their Vogues, but I always just had my own mind for the way that I thought of Vogue. I didn't see nobody really executing it that way.
Right.
Mika's another person who I do mention to my kids though, that inspired aspects of my Vogue, when it came to duck walking. I always was attracted to Mika's duck walk. So in the way she would get out of them into a spin and then back down, that was hot shit to me. So I would definitely try to master that. But
yeah, that's what's up. So I would say give me like a few names. You can give me obviously like names of people in your house, but even people outside of your house, out of the new generation today, who are some of the like femme queen performers that you think are on their shit?
Out of today's time, my favorite female figure performers, my number one is Jaylon. I absolutely love Jaylon. She knows it. Like, I tell her all the time. I just love what she gives to the category. Jemiah has definitely made my list of, like, top bad bitches worldwide. Lil Barbie, Lil Barbie, I live for her, too. She's good. See, I have a girl in my house, China Makaveli, who I feel like is hands down, undeniably one of the best performers out today. She just misses her opportunity a lot of times to broadcast that, but when you catch her and you're there, you know what I'm saying? It's always a moment. It's always hot. It's always fire. She's literally like my protege, my mini-me, but she's definitely another girl that I feel like is deserving to be ranked with those girls. She even battles some of them girls inside them, but she gets left out of the conversation often, but that's somebody that I would like to see.
And how do you think she could get herself put in the conversation?
I'm storming. I tell her all the time, like, you're your own downfall in Ballroom, and we can be that a lot of times as individuals who don't truly get it, like, you know what I'm saying, who don't truly fall into the politics and all of the extra stuff of Ballroom. So it's easy to be like, I don't want to do this shit. Like, if you don't understand why you're getting sad at a moment you ate this girl up, but you don't know who she's connected to. If you don't know all of that, then you won't want to be in it. So
exactly. Yeah, that's dope. So you already spoke about like the shift in femme queen performance around the late 2000s. Do you feel like another shift is coming, or do you feel like it already shifted?
Oh yeah, today where femme queen performance is, it definitely shifted. And it's so funny because I have so many friends. Let me tell you this. A lot of my friends in my support systems are legends and icons. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when I talk to them all the time and I tell them about the shift in today's femme queen performance, and I would complain about it, they will always be like, well, you're a part of that shift. You kind of helped embrace that, like the girls voguing with their hormone breasts and like stuff like that. Like, I remember when I was coming out, that wasn't even popular. Like, girls were rushing to go get implants just so that they can walk femme queen performance. And I was just like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm just going to keep my natural body. You going to respect me, and this is what I'm going to do. And I got read for it so much. Like, oh, people would tear me down. The femme queens of the category would say that I'm not a femme queen, that I'm a drags deluxe because I got these titties or these baby titties or whatever the case may be. And they all got, yes. I like to think that name was created because people was keying on me though. Like, but whatever, but that's the first time I ever heard it. But people would really try to like make me feel less of a woman because I did not like go jump on the table and get these surgeries, and it would affect my emotions towards the category. But today I see so many girls, now ain't got no work, no seal, no surge, small hormone breasts, and perform and got it easy, like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that alone too was a part of the shift that came along with today's girls.
Yeah, I remember a while ago a girl told me that, because I was asking, like, why you not walking? And she was just like, I don't have my titties yet. And I'm like, what? Like, like, it really be, I guess, or back then, it was really, like, a big thing. So I'm glad it's not really so much of a big thing. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's, like, just a change of the times? Like, we're more accepting of, like, being respectful of people's genders? Like, what do you think it is?
Yeah, today is so sensitive. We can't even say bitch without somebody being like, you can't call me that, you can't say that. So I do think it's because of the sensitivity of today's time. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like it's just embracing, you know, with how people feel about themselves. Because can nobody tell you, you know, well, I guess they can tell you if you in ballroom shit. I guess they can if it's a category and it's like, you know, femme queen, or you want to specify juniors or, you know, whatever the case may be. But I know for me, it was like, ain't nobody telling me that I ain't no femme queen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my energy towards it. So.
To you, what's the difference between a drag performer and a femme queen?
One's a boy who gets in girl clothes, and one's
what about for those
a trans
girls
woman
that haven't like transitioned, but they just dressed as girls all day?
24/7, like girls, basically, is like what you're saying. Like, I live for them. What about them?
I mean, you would still consider them femme queens, or you consider them drags?
A drag, just somebody who lives their life up in it.
Right. Okay, so what would you like categorize them as far as gender wise? A boy still?
You trying to get me caught up on this?
No, I'm saying, like, 'cause this
Look,
is
you trying to get me.
because it is like when you think about it.
What should we call them?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
A boy, right? I mean, they're still technically. See, it's a difference. If I guess it plays into your mannerisms and just how you treat yourself. Like, you know, I'm only gonna call you or treat you like whatever you want you present to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't even look that deep into it. Like, you know, I ain't sitting around judging nobody, like calling nobody no man or no, you know, like if you sitting in front of me with a wig on, I'm going to call you a girl anyways. Like, just because you got the wig on, like, you know, like rather you look late or not, like, you know. So, yeah, I guess that's that.
Yeah, so that definitely does make sense. Like for me, I just kind of like, sometimes it'd be like some girls that might fit that category, like they 24/7 girls, but they haven't like transitioned. But it's kind of like, I mean, I still kind of consider them girls just because, I mean, you waking up and going to sleep like that every day, and then it's like 12 months from now, you're gonna have a small pair of titties anyway. So I mean, I'm saying like, because you can kind of see like when some people don't transition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
so
evident, yeah.
You kind of see it in some people. So that's
Sometimes.
that's why I ask, because sometimes I'm like, oh, you transition, oh, big surprise. You know what I mean? Because it's like I kind of seen that coming. But at the same time, a lot of those people deal with that. Like, you know, where do you go? Where do you put them? I even know like a couple girls that like started transitioning but hid it because they were still walking drags categories.
And they do that a lot.
And they didn't want to like jump out there into like, I guess with the big dogs, with the femme queens, and be overly judged because they didn't feel like they were like, you know, you like a femme queen. So what do you think we need more, you know, open categories, like more?
No, I don't feel like we need more open categories because that's what's wrong with. That's why we can't decide. Like right now, we can't get nowhere with this conversation as far as
right.
what we gonna call them, because you know that this is why, because we making so many things normalized that we don't even know what the fuck we normalizing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no explanation for what we normalizing.
Right.
I feel like being more stern on making people identify as, or making them step up and say that I'm this or that, is more of what we need. Like, you know, like drags performance need to be just drags. Boys that get up in it for the bar, whatever they do. Femme queen performance need to be strictly nothing but femme queens.
But what about, like we just said, them 24/7 girls?
I feel like if they're not on hormones at all and they just live their life 24/7, then go ahead and walk the drags category, because that's what it's there for. You know what I'm saying? Femme queen is about women, like, you know, the softness, the titties, the breasts, the hips, the ass, the notion of really like being the ultimate woman, like, you know what I'm saying, tapping into Like, not just a woman, because a lot of bitches is women. Not even, some boys is women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got male friends who is more fishier than any girlfriend I got. But, that femme queen is a different type of woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, that should be dedicated strictly to the girls who tap into that energy.
Yeah. I remember one time, a long time ago, I remember like your house tried to rip him apart. It was Marquise from Detroit, and he had chopped you because it said bring it sexy, and you ain't have on no heels, and you was like, motherfucker, I don't have to have heels on to be sexy. And I remember it was a big thing. Like they was ran up there, like they was trying to like like trying to get to him. What do you feel about that notion of, because like you said, femme queen performance, when you think about femme queen performance, you think about ass and titties, you think about, you know, all womanly things, you think about the heels, the hair. I don't think that you definitely need, I mean, you could be barefoot and still be sexy, but what do you think about, you know, as far as like femme queen performance, is having that heel on or not?
I feel like you should know how to vogue in the heel. You know what I'm saying? When it's calling for that, you should be able to give that as a femme queen performer. But I'm a dancer and I'm a bitch that like to dance in Vogue, and I believe in when I'm ready to get down, I need to get my flat boots, go pull her out from the back. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to get down. I'm not the type of person I feel like you got to always be in a heel, you know, but when it's calling for sexy and stuff like that, I think you probably should have a heel on. I think I learned my lesson from that because that was crazy as hell. Like, you know, Marquise is my daddy, but that was crazy. Yeah, I definitely remember. That's crazy you remember that.
I do. Like, I'm telling you, like, you used to be like, you still are, one of my favorite Voguers. Like, I always love you. That's why, like, ever since, you had came to my ball that time, like nobody could tell me nothing about you. And when I asked you, like, why the hell did you come to my ball? Like, you, out of all people, you was just like, I always be seeing you out at this ball, that ball, supporting other people. I support people that support people, or something to that effect. And I was just like, she a solid person. And ever since I seen you, then it's, like I said, it's always good vibes. It's always good energy. Like I said, I hope that you can really stick through with this Makaveli thing, because I know it's probably days where you feel like quitting, just as a person that just walk balls, let alone running your own house. It's probably days you want to quit, you want to just say F it all. I know you probably still even have people that's giving you offers to come to their house and stuff.
I think that is so crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Still to this day, I get mad offers to be a mother of another house in other houses, and I be looking like I have my own house. Like, that is so disrespectful.
They looking at it like, you could, if you could do that on your own over there, you could do that over here. Like, and I would also give you that advice, like, sometimes when people are hating on you, it might be because they really see it for you.
It is.
You know?
It's always because they see it for me. I always say, one thing about the Barbie hate train is that them is a bunch of admirers. And I know that for a fact. And that's only the reason why, because I know people like you and other people get irritated when I clap back at certain shit. But y'all got to understand, like, these hate trains that be going on come from people that be close to me, you know what I'm saying, or dear to me, or that been around me, like, you know what I'm saying. And I do feel like it's always because they truly see it for me. They just want to push me or try me to my limit, you know what I'm saying. And it gets overwhelming at times, but I know what it's really about. And I think that's why today people like Harold and like Mooka Chanel, they all give me my life, or like, you know, just talk to me on a different level than other people do, because they know what's up too. Like, you know, I think everybody who is destined for greatness gets a hate train.
Yeah, one of my favorite rappers, Nas, he a song a long time ago, he was just like, hate is confused admiration. It's like they really admire you, but they they don't know how to process that and how to express that, so they just hate. You know, it's like, even with me with this YouTube channel, sometimes it'll be like, I'll post like a LSS clip of somebody, and somebody will come on there and say how much they can't stand this person, but you literally just clicked on the video, watching it. Like, it just don't make no sense to me. Like, if I click on a video of somebody that I really cannot stand, I'm not gonna watch the video. I'm not gonna comment on it. You know, but we just live in this world today where, you know, I don't know. And then, like I said, it's just like negativity. That's what goes.
It rises. But see, we are in a social media time. You know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
How long you been in Ballroom?
2014.
Okay, so you came in the eras of
Facebook.
Social media already.
Yeah.
You know, I joined Ballroom at a time where Facebook wasn't even really popping. MySpace was still popping. We had Walk For Me Wednesdays and all of these websites you had to go to catch clips. So I think today what keeps people more relevant is that social media aspect. I'm younger, but I'm old school. So, you know, I'm not really hip to the whole social media thing. That's why after a while I eventually blow and I go crazy on live, because that's just like literally the only way I know how to let it out on live. Like, just press that little live button and let it go, because that's what everybody else do. You know, these are the things of today that keeps, I guess, protects your legacy or whatever the case may be, if it's worth it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I even see like a lot of promotion going on Facebook for members. Like, when people got members that they want to broadcast, they not necessarily pushing them out on the floor first. It's the Facebook show first, the promotional campaign behind the shit. And then, you know, so this social media era is, that's the shit that it takes to keep the girls. Like, you know, they want to hear about the drama. They want to see the spice, the teas that's going on in people's houses. These are the statuses that we're reading every day now. Like, you know, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really a big part of Ballroom today, like the Bigos and all of that. It plays a fact there.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Like you said, social media, and sometimes I even look at like a lot of the drama that goes on Facebook as like, I look at Ballroom like a sport, and I look at, like, you know, after the Super Bowl, you can literally get on YouTube and it's about like 20,000 videos about how they think it was rigged and it was set up and it's a conspiracy and all of that. It's almost no different than when somebody gets dinged and it's a whole bunch of people mad. You know, like, it's almost like it's a part of the sport. Like you said, it's a part of the thing that keeps Ballroom going. It's that daily interest.
Yeah.
It's that what keeps people coming back. Like, if it wasn't for social media, my channel, my small channel, wouldn't even be as viewed as it is right now without that community of people on Facebook, on these social media sites. So, you know, we just gotta take the good with the bad. So one thing I always ask everybody when they come here is to describe yourself in 5 words or less.
Okay, so 5 words. Amazing. No. It's actually crazy because I don't say stuff like that about myself, so it kind of felt good.
Just be honest.
Understanding, I guess I would say. I would say humble. But on the same note, I can be very fierce too, so I'm gonna say fierce too. And stern. I guess stern is like the most relevant one out of all of them too, because a lot of people confuse my sternness for ignorance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I just like certain things a certain way, or I want things to be a certain way. So, and when I'm locked on that, I'm locked on that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Give me an example of something that somebody was just trying to like make you budge on, and you were just like, nope.
Something that people were trying to make me budge on, that I'd be like, nope. Like for instance, Boy. For instance, like Boy being the father of Makaveli, you know. Once my mind was set on that I wanted to move forward with Boy, it was so many people telling me, like, you know, don't do it. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be an issue with your house. Might be a downfall. But I was just like, no. Like, you know, I had this vision. So once I'm locked in it, that's how I am. Even with my kids. If I tell them, like, don't walk this ball, like, they know for sure if they walk that ball that I said don't walk, it's going to be a big thing, because I just don't play that type of shit. Like, you know, I'm more stern than a lot of female figure leaders. You know, I get that backbone from Father Tony. So, you know, I just don't play no games when it comes to my brand and what I like behind the scenes. Like, you know, I guess my problem is trying to learn how to, on the camera, make that a thing without making it so nasty or seem so aggressive, you know.
Right. You know, that's understandable. So yeah, I really appreciate just having you here. Like I said, I really, you was always like one of my favorite Voguers, but then after like meeting you, cause some of these people, when you meet them, you wish you hadn't. You know what I'm saying? So when you actually meet somebody that's actually like a decent person, that's a solid person, that in my experience always did what they said they was gonna do, you know, you appreciate those people more, because in a sea full of just fakeness, when you find somebody real, you appreciate that. So, like I said, I acknowledge all of the, not shortcomings, but all of the hurdles that y'all have had to jump, as far as like the House of Makaveli, even like losing somebody that was so
dear to us.
I mean, like, it was almost like ripping a piece of the heart out of
No, it was.
out of the house, right?
Yeah, it was.
So, just for y'all to even still keep it going, and if anything, like, I would say even after that, like, y'all even kind of stepped it up a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. Boogie left Makaveli at one point. You know, people knew, but people didn't know too. But before he passed, he had left the house for a long time. He just didn't like the idea of it being for founders. His voice not really being heard. You know, that's kind of what he dealt with in Revlon. So he stepped away for a while. And myself, Mook, and Daylin was kind of like doing everything in the house for a minute.
Oh, and Mook was the fourth founder?
Yeah, he was a co-founder.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it started off me, Daylin, Mook, and Boogie. Well, me and Boogie first, and then I added Daylin and Mook into the equation. But yeah, when Boogie first came back, it was only myself and Daylin left at that time. And he was so ready to take over Ballroom. Like, you know what I'm saying? He had big plans. He had been away from the house for months. So at that point, he knew exactly, like, he was able to strategically sit down and say, like, this is what we need to do as a house. Like, you know, which that type of plan had never been discovered that far for the house. We just started the house and planned our first ball, planned our second and third one, and after that, it was just kind of like a free game. Like, you know, it wasn't no strategic plan or purpose behind why we were moving that year. You know, I think before he passed, we just finally found our purpose. And a lot of the things that happened after he passed were things that me and him were implementing in the house together. So we still kind of followed that like guideline that me and him was laying. So the elevation that people witnessed of us after him passing, he also contributed to that moment too, you know. Yeah.
Damn. I wouldn't even think about it like that, but like, yeah. I never even heard about him leaving that house. I remember the last ball I had, it was in 2020 at the end of the year, and he came, and just almost the same with you. Like I always wanted to have a ball where it was a lot of out of town people, and that was one ball where it was a lot of out of town people. And I just remember like at one point of the night, he was literally just sitting on the runway, and we was shooing people off, but I wasn't about to move him because when I always watch like New York balls, I always see Boogie's ass like right in
right
front,
there,
right
yeah.
in front. So I just felt like so good, like oh shit, Boogie is like right in front of my
yeah,
ball.
he's boogieing.
Right, Boogie, exactly.
He's doing his thing.
I felt like okay, this is. It really felt like I had reached the goal because, like I said, I threw a couple balls, but then it was like I want to throw a ball with a lot of out of town people, and that was the one. And he was one of the ones that, like when he came through the door, I'm like, okay, like yeah, like I accomplished my goal this year because, like I said, Ballroom is so fickle and funny. You could give out thousands of dollars, and a million people gonna show up.
Yeah, they gotta trust you.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
And by me never even knowing him like personally, like you know, even just high and by, you know, for him to like come and support like that, it made me really feel real good. That's why I really felt real bad. And even when he passed, even just thinking about like your situation, just trying to keep the house going, like yeah, and.
But people fail to realize even outside of the house, Boogie was my friend. Yeah. You know, like my brother. You know, not just my ballroom partner. You know, so getting up and moving Makaveli after him was the hardest thing I've ever encountered in my life because I didn't get to mourn. You know, I didn't really get to, excuse me, but I didn't really get to mourn that moment or really tap in with that moment because his kids, his actual personal kids, you know, I had to instantly get in my car and drive to New York City and console them and be there with them, which I loved every moment of that. We needed each other, you know, and then shortly after that, I had to take care of Makaveli because now they're all hurt and, you know, I had to be superwoman, literally, and I was doing that without truly knowing how to. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then when the noise went down and it got quiet, I had to deal with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And still to this day, I'm doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Over the loss of him because I never had a moment, like I said, where I could just sit down and say, damn, you know, let me cry. Let me just let this out. So
you never had the opportunity to really...
or the comfortability from the people around me to feel like I could just have this moment without being judged. So I kind of kept it bottled up.
So I really hope you can find or like I guess rebuild that support system to where you could feel comfortable and, you know, I guess trusting people to help you. Because I know how it feels to feel like you got to do everything yourself. You know, I know how it feels to like feel like, you know, you want to keep it in to yourself because you don't think people will understand, maybe, or you don't want to seem like, you know, you're throwing a pity party for yourself. Or something.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the biggest thing about it. You know, I never wanted it to seem like a pity party because I can deal with shit. You know what I'm saying? So I always try to keep it just away from everybody, but sometimes it's just too overbearing. There are people around me that are a part of my support system, though, that I do absolutely fall into, like Entice Makaveli, Rose Makaveli, Cam Makaveli. These are people that I know there's a shoulder to cry on. Carvez, Father Raheem of Vegas, Makaveli. These are people that is definitely a part of my support system that are there. But I just meant on a public forum. Like, you know, when Boogie passed, so many people were hurt and affected by that the whole world mourned, you know what I'm saying? So that for one, that was a big thing. But it was a ballroom figure who instantly went and made an announcement over Boogie's passing that kind of turned his words that he used turned Boogie's death into a pissing match between the Revlons and the Machiavellis, and it became like a who knew him more or who was closer to him type of thing, like, you know what I'm saying? So the public things that we even went through, the downs of that moment, because even in the midst of us mourning a loss of our founder, people were still like trying us, like, you know what I'm saying, which is crazy. Like, they were still disrespecting us as far as our relationships and how genuine they were with him. So we kind of stopped all the mourning publicly and just kind of like, you know, we kind of had to deal with that privately, just us. So yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I feel you there. That's unfortunate. That is. And I noticed that too. Like, sometimes when people pass away, like, people be like sharing like intimate conversations. Sometimes just basically trying to show like, hey, I knew this person. But sometimes some people are sharing stuff just because and that's the way that they mourn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I hope, you know, you can still be expressive without having to just keep stuff bottled in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can be expressive about, you know, pain. Because if you keep it bottled in, it'll explode eventually. What is one piece of advice that you would give a young femme queen who basically wants to be like where you're at, like make a name for herself, get different accolades as far as like, you know, status, open their own house if they want to? How do you guide somebody to be great in ballroom as far as like a femme queen, somebody that's like you?
I would tell her, like, just don't lose yourself. Like, you know, stay true to who you are and don't let people tell you that you cannot. Like, you know, I used to hear you cannot all the time. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. And it became the drive that pushed me to do everything that they said I couldn't do. Like, you know, you just can't fall into the negativity of the naysayers. Like, you know, come into it with that clear mind of knowing who you are and just stick to it, no matter what you encounter or what you come across. Because people will. Ballroom build you up to break you down. You know, and that's an old saying in the game, but that's a true statement. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once you're at your maximum confidence is when they'll tell you that you're lacking the most in another department. So just keep yourself surrounded by people that rock with you, you know, like a real house, and real people that genuinely rock with your personality and your character, past your talent. You know, that's just a plus. And just stay true to you.
That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the overall founding legendary mother, the icon in the KiKi scene, the person that has inspired literally so many dope people today, like, for real. So I'm really happy to have you here again. Like I said, I've been trying to get this done for a while now. I'm glad, you know, we finally got it. I hope that people can take anything from this interview, just take away I want them to take away your resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to take away how you never gave up. I want them to take away how everything don't have to be perfect, but you're going to strive for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Legendary Barbie Makaveli.